I feel like we have to start today by saying you're not crazy. The world kind of feels crazy, and there are those in it that want us to feel like we've gone mad. Everything's kind of topsy-turvy right now, and a lot of it comes down to a misunderstanding of what strength really is. A lot of broken people who are trying to play strong so that they can feel strong, and the rest of us have to pay the consequences for that. From the wars in Iran, Ukraine, and Lebanon, and the violence that is still going on in Gaza, to the violence that we see in our own city streets, broken people are trying to pretend that they're strong. It's been kind of difficult going through this time because I'm watching the violent, hateful, self-righteous Christian nationalism that I grew up in take over the country and threaten the world. It's dropping bombs now. And it was hard to grow up with all of these threats over my head. And to see the whole world having to cope with it now is just almost unbearable. The problem is, in these groups, they have forgotten how to actually be strong. And they think that strength only exists in threats and violence. So today, as we are over on creationspast.com, counting the Omer, we're going to take some time and talk about strength, Geburah, and what it really is as we walk together down creation's paths. Hello, everybody. My name is Charlie. I am a Christopagan druid and priest of Pachad.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brian. I'm a Christopagan druid and sous chef to the Dog Dog.
And like I said in the intro, today we're going to be talking about strength and what it is and how we can develop it and what corrupts it and all of those things. But before we get into that, I want to remind you that my book is out. If you want to know more about creation spirituality, this is my primer that I wrote with a wonderful foreword by Matthew Fox about creation spirituality. There is a chapter in here on Christopaganism and kind of getting the roots down into what that is and what that could mean for us going forward. This is probably the last time I'll be holding up this copy of the book with this band around it. This is not for resale because they shipped the actual books that we're going to have here to do signed copies for people. And I'll be holding up one of those going forward. Hopefully they'll be here soon. I'm hoping they'll be here before we record next. I'm very proud of this book. This is basically 20 years of practice condensed down into one book to help you not only understand, like in here, what creation spirituality is, but more importantly, how to feel it and practice it in here, because creation spirituality is embodied faith. So check that out. It's available right now in paperback and Kindle over at Amazon. And soon, if that's not your cup of tea, you'll be able to get it directly from us. Also, sorry, just overwhelming just thinking that this book is finally out. Also, if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can currently read the entire book for free and let us know what you think. If you like it, please leave it a review. That helps us out a lot. And I don't know, I'm really proud of this book. While you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, whatever the terminology happens to be on whatever the app is you're listening to us on. That helps us out more than you know. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. That really, really helps us over there to get them to understand that people both are listening and like what we're doing. So please do that if you can. All right, let's just get into it now, shall we? Strength that calls loyalty truth is already crumbling. We're living in a world, and I'm sure you felt this, where we're living in that Isaiah 5:20 moment. Woe unto those who call good evil and evil good, who name darkness light and light darkness, bitter sweet and sweet bitter. I think I actually went into verse 21 there, but thereabouts. That is the world that we're living in. It's all upside down and backwards and inside out. You can be corrupt and take bribes and still be a strong, right person. You can have SA allegations against you and even be adjudicated to have done that and still be seen as a good, righteous person you should be paying attention to somehow.
could have somebody send out a screed on Easter proclaiming genocide, and yet still have people who claim to be Christians say this is a good Christian person, which is like clearly the opposite of what Christ taught.
For my entire life, I remember reading that passage in Matthew's gospel where Jesus says, and you'll come to me in that day and say, Lord, Lord, and I will say, I never knew you. And I thought to myself, well, who would say, Lord, Lord, that Jesus would say, I never knew you? And I see that I feel like if they don't get their acts together, are really going to hear that at some point in their existence, because the kind of strength that Jesus taught, that he exhibited, was one that was rooted in grace and in taking care of other people, in making sure that those who are in our lives are taken care of. And that really is strength. I think about my parents, who I never realized until I got older how, I don't want to say how poor we were, because we were kind of lower middle class for a lot of it, but we, compared to where we lived and the cost of living where we were, we didn't have hardly any money. We didn't have nearly the amount of money that most of the kids I went to school with had. But with only a few exceptions, I never would have known that. I didn't understand why I couldn't go get the shoes I wanted and had to go to the Payless instead. But that's because the strength that they had to be able to just endure everything that they endured, to make sure that we had food on the table, a roof over our heads, and that we were able to go, that I was able to go to the school that I went to, because I went out of district for school. And I knew we didn't have a lot. I was on the school lunch program, free lunch program and stuff. So I wasn't completely ignorant of it, but I never really felt that. That's strength. Strength is taking care of people, making sure that others are taken care of and that they don't have to worry. And when we do that for each other, then that worry, anxiety, and doubt just kind of lifts off of us. But when you have this upside down view and you're calling good evil and evil good, you can see this, right? Food programs are evil, they say. So there was a speech recently that the gentleman in the White House gave where he said that the government shouldn't be paying for food, housing, and medicine, just war.
This is why the line that you have coming out this week, I think it's a little later in the week, says, a little sneak peek, but strength that demands loyalty over truth is already crumbling, really resonates with me. We're seeing this already happening. Yeah. We have this false strength demanding loyalty over truth. And it's like, truth will hear out. It will show, it will be what's standing in the end after time and everything has worn away the false facades that have been put up, the untrue things. They wear away in time. This is something that I experienced personally firsthand as a business owner. I was approached by other business owners, and business owners talk with each other all the time about different challenges and struggles and how they found solutions to that. And they were complaining about employees and how hard it is to get quality employees and what they look for. And the number of times I was given the advice, you want to hire somebody who's hungry, who has to work, because that's the person who's going to show up, because if they don't have a job and they're in so much trouble. And like, even in the moment, like, I knew this was the upside down, like showing itself. This is so backwards. Like, first of all, basically what that's advocating is a wage slavery system.
Those are Lincoln's words, by the way.
Those are Lincoln's words. This is a wage slavery where a person has to work for you because their situation is so dire without that benevolence. It's not benevolence. It's ownership. It's people owning people. And I knew that was the wrong system. And I intentionally set out to do a different system, a better system. And over time, I had other business owners come to me and being like, wow, they were so surprised at the quality of employees I had working for me and the loyalty that I had, because I treated them with respect. I acted with strength, and I taught them how to have inner strength. I think I've even mentioned this before in Creation Past. One of the bad jokes among some of our female staff is that coming and working for me is a relationship ender. And it's not in a negative sense, but they were in abusive relationships when they first started working for me. I taught them how to have that inner strength, how to have what real strength was. And as they developed it, they realized I'm in a toxic relationship. I'm in a bad relationship. They were able to stand up for themselves, make those demands. And unfortunately, their partners weren't willing to even put the smallest amount of effort in. And those relationships crumbled, and they're in much better relationships now, much healthier relationships, and much happier for it, being able to see the test of time as I started talking about this with. And it was to that point where their loyalty was so strong that these other business owners approached them secretly, offering them sometimes significant pay raises. Like we're talking 150% more than I could afford to pay them, pay raises that they turned down. They wanted to own people. They wanted to control them, and they could see this, and it's not real strength.
And it really comes from this upside down view of the world where we don't understand that it's the people that are important. Money is not important. Money is a thing we made up to help make trade easier. So let's walk this idea of strength through the 4 paths. And I want to start actually with something that Red from Overly Sarcastic Production said, because ever since I've heard this, I've not been able to get it out of my mind. If you can't imagine your Batman comforting a scared kid, congratulations, you've created the Punisher in a funny hat. And I think that says something about what strength is. That when we think about a superhero, right, as opposed to an anti-hero, Punisher is an anti-hero. He's not the good guy in any of the stories. He's just the best of the bad guys in his stories. Yeah, if you can't stop and comfort somebody and take that moment of care and compassion, you're not really doing strength. The actual image she's referring to, if you're not familiar with it, is in Batman the Animated Series. Batman encounters a girl who is dying, and he literally stops everything to sit with her and comfort her until the end. And it's a touching, moving, very powerful moment, because that is real strength. Strength is being there for other people. I like to think about strength in these building metaphors because they're the ones that Jesus and the early apostles used a lot, where Jesus is the cornerstone and we're the stones that are built up on it. What makes an arch strong? The reason the Pantheon is still standing in Rome today is because everything is holding up everything, and everything is sharing the weight. Everything is sharing the labor. So none of it has to do any of it alone. It's all holding itself together, and it's so strong. It's surviving the earthquakes. It's survived wars. It's still standing today because it is sharing the strength across itself. And that's what real strength is this kind of arm in arm, hand in hand, just locked together, holding each other up. Because alone, isolated, separated, squish, all those stones are just going to pop. They're going to break. That it's going to fall apart. It's only that we can build something beautiful and amazing. And that really is one of the great wonders of the Via Positiva, is that we can learn that strength for ourselves.
Along that line, there's that internal strength, that strength that comes with us that is indestructible. You know, speaking of Jesus, the parables that Jesus talks about, the strong man. And we've talked about this before in Kingdom Rising, how that's an internal strength that we have. Nietzsche also addresses it when they're philosophizing on what is a strong person and what makes a strong person.
It's in the 3 transformations of the soul. The third one is the wheel rolling from its own center.
The wheel rolling from within its own self. It's this internal strength. And it's this kind of strength you can see exemplified through history, and why I say it's indestructible, because the violent will come to take it, and they'll try to take it by force, but only you can give it up. And you can see through the various martyrs and stuff, like you can see through history, Gandhi, and over again.
You can see it in Hafez when he was being taken to be crucified. And he said that it is the duty of the mystic to be drawn to God, and it is the duty of the community to ensure that he meets him.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a strong thing to say right before your crucifixion. You can see this in, Maria Peretti, who did not back down before they burned her alive over a collection of her own books. We can see this over and over and over again, this strength that just wells up from within us, that is bolstered because even with all of the evil that is called good going on outside of us, there's also the good that is good that helps to feed us and to give us strength. And none of us is ever truly alone, even in those moments when we might feel that way. And some of the bravest among us have seen that. As we turn over to the Via Negativa and start asking ourselves, so if we have all of that, what do we have to let go of? The answer is fear. See, we haven't talked a lot about the tree of life in this podcast, and we need to do that at some point. But as we're counting the Omer, we're thinking a lot about the powers that are named on the tree of life. And strength, Geburah, is supposed to be balanced by chesed, or loving kindness. And if that balance is off, two things arise within. One is called din, which means judgment, and the other is pachad, or fear. But this is a very specific kind of fear. This isn't like when you read in the Psalms, fear the Lord, or when you read in the Proverbs, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. But unfortunately, in English, we have the word fear. Hebrew had more words. That word is yira, which is to be kind of stuck in awe, just it's kind of enraptured, kind of not knowing where to move. You're just caught. That's the fear of the Lord, the yira. This is pachad. Pachad is the kind of fear that projects itself outward. You know, your friend who is afraid of something and is always trying to get you afraid of that thing. Maybe it's snakes. Maybe it's spiders. Maybe it's chemtrails in the sky. I think at least one of us has a cousin or an uncle that still goes on about that from time to time. Whatever that fear is, they need you to feel it too. You need to be afraid. It's this projecting fear. It's not good enough for them to just be afraid of it. No. You need to be afraid of it too. Everyone needs to be afraid of it. And we see this working in these groups that are turning everything topsy-turvy. Those who are calling good evil and evil good, and light darkness and darkness light, and bitter sweet and sweet bitter. Be afraid, be very afraid. Those immigrants are coming for your jobs. Well, what about the employers who keep getting all the tax breaks that are supposed to be giving us jobs because of the tax breaks? Oh no, but fear the poor people. Oh, okay. Fear the robber that's going through your street, going to break into your house and steal everything that you have. Okay, but if we had good jobs and good healthcare and all of that, there wouldn't be such a need for money, which means people wouldn't be desperate enough to break into people's houses and steal things. Maybe that has to do with our wages. Oh no, we're not supposed to think about that. Just be afraid. We're starting to see a pattern here in how this works, or at least how it's supposed to work. It is a distraction. It's calling on you to not just be afraid, but to cast judgment. It's the trans ideology. Nobody's trying to make your kids trans. Nobody. Even trans people are not trying to make their friends trans. That's not how any of that works. They used to say this about gay people. They used to say this about left-handed people. And yeah, it wasn't true for either of them either. See, if you don't have a group that you can hate, if you don't have a group that you can be afraid of, you might look around and go, well, why is my life as bad off as it is? And see the person who's trying to make you afraid and go, wait a minute, you're the one that keeps telling lies. You keep telling me that good is evil and evil's good. Are you part of the problem? Wait, you're the one that's supposed to be paying my wage. Wait, I'm not getting a fair wage for the work that I do. And it's really hard for me to get time off when I need. You don't want me to take bereavement because somebody died in the family. And you don't want me to take a sick day even when I'm so sick I can barely do my job. Wait, are you the problem? No. They don't want you seeing that they might be the problem. So be afraid, be very afraid. You're strong because you're afraid. And that is the basic lie that has fueled so much oppression in the history of the world. See, the strong people are afraid of the right people. And that's what makes them strong, because they do bad things to the bad people so that they can show themselves to be strong. Oh, well, do you see this nice little circle that we made over here that keeps us from looking over here where the thing's actually happening? Yeah, that is what we need to let go of. That's what we need to just surrender into the universe. Because whenever anyone asks you or to be afraid of someone, or tells you that you should be afraid of someone, the first question that goes to your mind before, well, why, is who benefits from you being afraid of that group, those people? Who benefits? If it's something truly scary, the answer will be you. If there's actually an invading army coming in and burning down your houses and destroying your homes, like is happening in Russia, Gaza, Iran, Syria, and Lebanon right now, yeah, there's a group you can point to and go, yeah, they're scary because they're literally burning down houses, killing people, killing children, bombing synagogues and schools. Yeah, maybe they're the scary ones. But no, we're supposed to think that the people whose houses and homes we're destroying are the scary ones.
And that's really the trick here, is in this moment of making space, the minute they say be afraid is the minute you should pause and make space for those questions, because so much of it falls apart really fast. Be afraid of government overspending and them taking all your money in taxes. If you pause and make space, you can see that though there might be room for a discussion, a calm, rational discussion of where those funds should be allocated, the reality is if you don't get distracted by that fear, you can see that they're spending money at such an accelerated rate. They're literally stealing from the other pocket. They're literally picking everyone's pocket while saying, be afraid of government overspending, and then doing ridiculous things to try to correct that just break the system even more.
The idea that the right, moral, and strong thing to do is to send all of our money to Raytheon and all of the other weapons companies rather than helping people with cancer. Because that's literally what we've done in this country. I don't know if you around the world, how much y'all know this, but this is the decision our government made. They cut research and treatment for cancer, things that would help cancer patients. They're actually refusing to look at certain drugs right now that might be helpful for those things because that would cost money and we need bombs. I mean, it's kind of obvious to see where things need to be gotten rid of. I have a member of my family who can barely pay for food, but always has money to buy more guns and bullets. Literally a member of my family who is like this because he's so bought into the fear story that he cannot see that he's giving his money away to people who do not care about his well-being and struggling to eat because of it. Fear destroys us.
Yeah. Fear is the robber that breaks into the house and ties up the strong man in that parable. It is fear. And that's why it's the first thing to be aware of. And, to keep your strength, you cannot give in to the fear and you cannot act rashly. You cannot react to the fear. You have to pause and then choose action.
So as we turn to the Via Creativa and ask ourselves, well, what wants to be born within us at this moment? We have already taken a look with awe at what strength is, the strength that we get from each other in community and the strength within us that gives us the conviction to do the right thing. And then we've looked at the Via Negativa, the fear and judgment that we need to let go of so that we are not giving up our strength to others. It's in the union of the Via Positiva and the Via Negativa that we see what is being born in the Via Creativa, and that is courage. I'm going to do something that I'm going to admit up front is kind of an etymological fallacy. You can't really argue that the meaning of a word is the words that it came from. That's the etymological fallacy. But I'm going to do that here because I think it gives us a sense of what wants to be born. When I say courage, I'm talking about the original meaning of this word, because it helps us to get a sense of what it is that we can do. Because courage is kind of a nebulous idea. Courage in the original language was the strong heart. It was the heart that receives, the strong heart, the heart of that we know as courage, the lion heart. So we have to develop a strong heart within. We do this by exercising it. When you hear something that you can say no to, say no. That sounds so simple, right? It sounds so simple. And it is. If you see somebody making fun of somebody because of the way they look, act, right? Doing the othering that we were talking about, that Pachad likes to do, those first steps of Pachad, just speaking of and saying, that's not funny. Little steps, little things, refusing to laugh, making sure that you're not condoning what's happening. Just take little steps, build that strength up. We're talking about building a muscle here. We're talking about growing something within us. You can start small, but you'll find that as you do these little things, someone says, you should really be afraid of these people that are moving into our town. Say, no, they're just moving here like so-and-so did. Because we all know somebody who moved to the town that we've been in. Not every one of us were born in the town that you're living it. I happen to have been born here, but I moved away for a really long time and then I moved back. So does that count me? And I could talk to people like that. And that starts kind of shaking the image of what does it mean to not be from around. Do you see what I'm saying? Take little steps that can grow bigger and bigger and bigger. That's where you start building that strength within. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, in his book Shambhala, talks about courage in there. It's one of the things that we should cultivate within us. And he uses the word pawo to describe it. And he says that this word for courage literally means to leap over. And that is such a powerful image. He says that courage is not necessarily facing the charging bull that's coming towards you. It's knowing that you can jump up and let the bull run under you and land on the other side. That you can get to the other side without even having to face it sometimes.
Isn't that a really powerful distinction? Because so often you're taught, oh, you got to face your fears. You have to conquer them. It becomes this almost violent interaction where you have to go to war with your fears, which is really the wrong mindset in all of this. And sometimes the strength is the strength to stand there and face it literally, and then know that all you have to do is leap or move aside. The fear will just wish on by and not be a thing. And that's why I love the image of the bull.
And you see this in the way that Jesus taught, and you see this in a lot of the saints where they are given a full straight-on attack and they just kind of sidestep. There's a wonderful passage that we read during Holy Week where Jesus is on trial before Pilate. And Pilate says, "So tell me, Jesus, are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus knows in this moment, it doesn't matter what he says. He's going to die. Rome kills people. Pilate is notorious for just killing people. He could give a long-winded sermon, who he is and what the kingdom is and what any of this means. And it doesn't matter. And he just looks at Pilate and says, "That is what you say I am." And that's such a disarming response. Well, and you can see the inner strength of that, right? This is the man who literally is holding the power to have him scourged and crucified in the palm of his hands. And instead of directly answering the question, "That is who you say," because Jesus did not ever claim to be the king of anything.
He reframed the entire thing then in that moment where for them to execute him, they have now proclaimed him King of the Jews.
Yes.
Like in their simple act. And they have to wrestle now with the possibility, like, well, if we don't do this, then we're supporting him not being, but we want to kill him because it's what we do. But then we're saying he is. Like, yeah, it's yeah.
And when a person
way to sidestep the bull.
And when a person was crucified, they had a plaque placed over their head that said what their crime was. And over Jesus, they put one that said, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews," with a crown of thorns on his head, nailed. It is important for us to realize that courage doesn't mean punching other people. Jesus said, if somebody hits you, turn the other cheek. Now, a Roman soldier had the right to hit you as much as they wanted. He's living under colonial oppression. One person fighting back is just going to get that one person killed. But if you defiantly turn to somebody and go, "Miss the spot," it's unnerving. I don't know if you've ever done that, but it's unnerving. He says, if somebody tells you to walk a mile with them, walk two. Now that's important because a Roman soldier had the right to tell anybody, "I don't want to carry my stuff. You carry my stuff." And they could force you to carry their stuff for a mile. And then you have to walk all the way. How you do this? Not a problem. You're not hurting me. You're not oppressing me. You have no power over me. Sure, I'll carry your stuff. If somebody asks for your coat, give them your cloak also. Again, same thing, right? And these are all statements of how to respond with courage to power. One person getting themselves killed, because the Roman had the right to just stab you, wouldn't make the world better for anybody. You stand up too vociferously as a single person to that one Roman soldier, lights out for you, and it accomplishes nothing. Together, though, people can move mountains. And that's what's wanting to be born in us. That strength to go, you missed a spot, turning that other cheek. That is such an act of defiance. And to hear people try to denigrate this and say, "Well, you only said to turn the cheek once, so they hit you again, you hit them." That is so toxic and antithetical to the way that Jesus was taught it. Because, yeah, okay, so you punch the Roman soldier, Then he pulls his sword and stabs you in the gut. Oops, that didn't solve anything. So it's having that strength, that courage. And that's what's trying to be born within us at all times, and especially in these times. So find these little ways, whatever they are. Put your stickers on the gas pumps. We have friends that are doing this, putting stickers on the gas pumps. The president's face from when he was pointing at the sun, looking right into the eclipse, right under the gas prices that says, I did that. It's a little thing. But, every time somebody goes to fill up their tank and gets mad at how expensive gas is and sees that, remembers, yeah, it is his fault. It's a little act. It's a little thing. Those build up to big things when we do them. So as we move on to the Via Transformativa, fourth path, we ask ourselves, so what change do we actually bring to the world? How do we interfere with injustice? How do we find a place of celebration? How does strength look in the real world? Because it's not standing there flexing like you're trying to show off your muscles, because that's vanity, not strength that you're showing. So what does real strength look like? Real strength, you think all the way back to path one. Remember, we get real strength from our unity with one another through building that courage and that conviction within us. So in the Via Transformativa, we build our sanctuaries, our refuges. We talked about this in the Kingdom Rising series. You find those places that you can call your own, even if it's just 2 or 3 friends. And it starts that way, where you always have each other's backs. You can tell each other anything, and you start to grow and grow and grow. Because in that act of coming together and building those communities up, you're not just showing your strength, you're showing our strength. And when you live in a place where we are strong, you get stronger too. It builds your courage. It sets up this feedback loop where the stronger the community you are in, the stronger you feel. See, this is why we have to let go of fear, like in the Via Negativa, because this is how it gives the illusion of strength to people. You see, we're afraid of all of these things, and now our people are in power and they're doing terrible things to those people. Look how strong we are. That's not actually strength, that's weakness. You're so afraid of children that you're rounding them up, taking them from their parents and locking them away in warehouses. You're warehousing children. That's not how. Nobody is strong who warehouses children. No one is strong who's bombing synagogues and houses, people. Those are not strong. Those are not symbols of strength. That's admission of failure. You were not strong enough to actually fix the problem. So you're lashing out like a toddler. So in the Via Negativa, we let go of that, because that's how that illusion of community, that illusion of strength can be built. We need to build real communities that are actually strong. You're told that this immigrant group that has come into your city are dangerous and scary. Go meet them. You might find something amazing. I remember when my family moved to Maryland. I didn't know anybody there but my sister and her husband and my niece, her daughter. And I had grown up in the whitest of white communities around the country. And the apartment complex that I lived in had people from everywhere. And so I started meeting people who were either first generation or second generation immigrants from China and India and Iran and Turkey and Brazil, all over the world, from Poland, Russia, Ukraine, all over the world. I started meeting these people. And all these people I had been told were so scary were people. The scariest thing I ever encountered in an Iranian household is I cannot eat that much. The graciousness at that table is so overwhelming that thank you. I can't do that much food. Like, it's just that's the scariest thing that I encountered from any of the Iranian people that I knew. The Russian people that I knew that I was told we were supposed to be so afraid of. Again, there was a graciousness, a kindness there, a community that was amazing to see. That's actually where I met the first Jewish people that I ever met, who I was also raised to think of as being shady and scary and spooky and all these things. And they were anything but. We actually go and meet people and find out who they are, what brought them here, why are they in the community now, where did they come from? And you learn their stories and you learn who they are. You start seeing yourself. And that's real strength, having that courage to go and meet people that you might deem as different from you and to be able to have conversation with them, to share a meal with them. It's a phenomenal experience, and it makes us as a community stronger. And that's the kind of strength we really should be working towards. not these illusory strengths that keep getting sold to us. So hopefully that gives you a good firm rooting in what strength actually is, what real strength actually is. But if you want to feel that, if you want to experience it, not just think about it, I want to offer a little practice. We're going to use our minds and our imaginations. And as long as you're not driving, whenever you get a moment, you can do this throughout your day, throughout your life. Just take a moment, take a few breaths. If it helps to close your eyes, do so. If that's not necessary for you, don't worry about it. But imagine your heart beating in your chest. Now, don't get all anatomical about this unless that's something that really works for you. You just imagine a simple heart right there beating in your chest, just beating away. And there's a light shining, warms everything in you. That light, that warmth, that is your courage, your strength. That is the lion heart beating within you. That is the sacred heart beating within you. The immaculate heart of our blessed mother beating within you. That is the courage that is there. Feel it beating. Maybe tap your chest like I am. And feel that strength that radiates through you. And then as you're just starting to feel it, jump to the other side. I am courageous. I am strong. And imagine yourself, however you will, as your icon of strength. Maybe you saw yourself in medieval chivalric armor because you thought of a knight. Just imagine yourself that way. Maybe you saw yourself as a samurai or a ninja. Maybe you saw the face of a hero of yours that you think of as particularly courageous. Just for this moment, imagine you were that. Don't think about it. Don't pretend. I am, say it. I am being that person. Maybe it's a mythological character. Maybe it's a character from your favorite book or movie. It's all okay. It doesn't matter. When you think of courage, that image that's so strong in you of this is courage, and ask yourself how you would act. How would the world be different if you had that courage, if you had that strength? Don't worry about words. This is something you really want to feel. You want to feel it deep down inside you. How would you feel? What would be different? And then as soon as you feel that, let the image dissolve back into you and hold that feeling, because that is still in you. And sit with that as long as you want and as long as you can. And when you're ready, take a few deep breaths, come back to your body, and go out, do your day. This is a good practice for at the beginning of your day. Anytime that you're starting to feel a little weak, take a moment. Maybe do it in your car before you go in before the interview. Whenever you need that extra courage, I invite you to just try this. That sensation does help because you want to get this feeling into your body, because our mind is not just up here. Your mind is all throughout your body. And as you start learning where your emotions are, you get a better sense of how to do these kinds of things. Most of us feel courage right here. It's kind of a warmth, comforting warmth in our chest. And fear is we feel kind of like a cold cage wrapping around us. And if you're in that moment of panic and you feel that cold cage reaching around you, maybe try this little meditation. Bring that warmth, that heat, that strength of courage, of that strong heart, push it back and give you some hope. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope that we've helped you get in touch with your courage, with your own strong heart. I'd love to know what you think. You can always leave a note in the comments.
If you're listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, or creationspath.com, you can leave a comment right there. If you're listening to us anywhere else, even if they say you can leave a comment, they don't notify us, so we won't know. But you can leave a comment there anyway, because engagement is magic. And then head over to creationspaths.com, click on chat, and you can leave a message there, and we will see it, and we will be able to get back to you. While you're there, if you happen to have a few dollars, you can pass our way. We offer monthly and annual memberships. You can also support us on Patreon and Ko-fi. I am CE Dorset on both, and you can support us using the Cash App hashtag Creation Paths. Thank you to everybody who does that. We are ever so grateful. Thank you so much. You all really do help us keep the lights on, keep a roof over our head, and food on our table. If we've ever said anything that's helped you out, please share it with others. That helps us out more than you know.
And before we go, I'd like to just say a little prayer to the Archangel Michael, who is often thought of as a bully. Michael's the Archangel of compassion. That's why he wrestles with the devil. That's why he argues for the bones of Moses. He doesn't want anyone to be left behind. O blessed Archangel Michael, who stands at our right side, grant us strength and courage, which we know that we gain through wisdom, loving kindness, and endurance. Grant us the courage, born in love, to do all that we wish and are called to do, so that the world may be filled with light. Amen.
Amen.